Hey everybody, good morning. How's it going? How's it going? How's it going? Well, I thought we were going to pull back. And guess what's happening? Conveniently, it all happens right after the options expiration on Friday, right? I mean, can can things work out any better? I mean, it's just a coincidence, right? I mean, Sledge, I must have called in my favor to the Moody's, right? I don't know. It's one of those weird things, you know. Now we haven't flushed out very much yet, of course. Not much. I mean, it's just a little blip so far. But this thing has a long way to potentially go to the downside. We definitely pushed it up to the extreme. To the extreme, like a mic click again. And we double topped it potentially on stocks above their 20-day moving average right there. If you've never seen this before, S5TW, the S&P 500 stocks above their 20-day, typically oscillates between, say, 20 and 80 is where we're kind of in the normal zone. Extreme moves typically tell us that the market's about to go the other way. So there we go. Top that one out. This is not real time. It's end of day only. S5FI. Look how close that got. That would have really made me feel good if that had gotten above that 80 on Friday. I'll be like, yep, time for the pullback right there. Is that close enough? I don't know. It's just one of those market indicators, right? These are like gauges. When we've climbed too high, too fast, too much, probably going the other way. Now our longer term one, stocks above their 200-day, just hanging at the middle. We've got room to go both ways here on this longer term chart. And when you look back at the history, typically when we make one big rip, we get some sort of little dip for a couple days at least, somewhere about the middle. You know, when we were down at the bottom, kind of get a dip and a bigger dip before we go on up. So we just have history, you know, the history of the market to rely on to try to glean where we might go. So this was indicating we're overcooked on the upside. This one's indicating we were almost cooked on the upside. This one can go either way on the longer time frame. Now, big picture, what I'm kind of expecting, I've said for a long time, is that we get some sort of three-wave correction, hold in this vicinity. You know, I was thinking this deep when we might correct from here, but we went on up here, so we pulled it up just a little bit. And I want a three-wave correction down in here, and then start a five-wave up, and that could take us up kind of close to 7,000. It's possible that we tap 7,000, but I'm still thinking below 4 before we go above 7. Even if we poke above 7, I still think we're going to go down below 4,000 before we make any meaningful move above 7. Below 4 before we go above 7. So even if we do this three-wave correction and then this nice big bullish move right up in here, I still expect a bigger correction down here. Now, this high right here could prolong itself out to late this year, maybe even early next year. We could spend the majority of this summer grinding in this 3-wave crap. So at this point, pull these up here, pull these over here, pull this over here, and pull this over here. This next move could take us, like, we could dip here into June, rally a little bit, push on down into late June, possibly July, then spend a little time coming back up, maybe late July, possibly into August, then do another little correction, and then head on up later into the year. Could be the timeline here. So even though this would look best if it was one big, fast, gnarly move and we get the heck out of Dodge, it might be a grind for most of the summer. Love that stuff, right? Everybody loves that kind of move in the market, don't you? I mean, just so exciting. Just so much fun. So exciting, so much fun. Oh boy. Awesome. All right. Moving on. All trading involves a substantial risk of loss. Past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. Just because I predict things doesn't mean it'll come true. Even though that's kind of how I make my stake in the world, you know, making predictions. I make epic predictions. Sometimes they come true. A lot of times, maybe. Sometimes I get lucky. And this presentation intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument, including stocks, options, bonds, forex, futures, cryptos, treasuries. Don't long them, don't short them, don't trade them. And if you desire personal financial advice, hire a consult financial advisor, which is not me. I'm not trying to tell you what to do to make money or not make money. Be careful out there. You might lose money doing this thing we do called trading. Now, we have a bunch of FOMC members speaking today. Tomorrow, more Fed members speaking. Kind of benign economic news-wise. Wednesday, more Fed members speaking, but kind of benign again. Thursday, still pretty much benign. I guess we get some flash stuff. Not really big market movers typically, at least lately. And then Friday, we get some new home sales. So pretty much a benign economic news week right here. Not a lot cooking for this week. And then next week's the last week in May with a holiday on Monday for Memorial Day. Man, this will be the second month out of the quarter. That's 2 out of 3. Then we have June left, and then we'll be at the end of the quarter again, and we'll be halfway done with the year. And I mean, it's wild and crazy, right? Wild and crazy stuff. And I was looking for Discord, and I hadn't even loaded it yet. Cool. Let's pull that over. Restore it. Oh, that was cool. Windows popping everywhere. The power went out here. We had a big storm come through Friday night. Took out the power from my office here till like late Saturday. There's Discord. Found it. And I was going to pull up something in here. Now check this out. Let's mark it all as red. So I announced this over the weekend. It has now been 1 month since I started funding and trading my account for the 50K challenge. Every trade is automatically verified. This is just the announcements open everybody channel. Every trade's verified and posted each night after I close it on the K-Info site. I'm up about $3,000 after 1 month. The goal is to hit $50,000 per month. That's when I get to the goal. It's a ways away. It's a healthy start, though. I mean, here's the... Look at that. That's the real picture from the real account over the weekend. 94,490, up $3,000 in the month. And here you can see the P&L. Like, am I taking big risks? Not really. It's just a constant grind higher. Some people think that's kind of boring. Some people, like Sergio, think it's very exciting. And just in case you wonder, there's the profit. I hadn't been using this account at all until I started doing this challenge. Year to date, 3,000 bucks. Past month, 3,000 bucks. Right there. So, I mean, and if you're in Discord, you can click that link and see every single trade. I posted that in there. And let's see. We go over here just in case. You can see this is an account I've had open for a long time, this Robinhood account. And since back in 2019, maybe 2018, I don't know. I had left it for dead. I refunded it right here last month and started trading this. And there's all the trades are put on here and verified by KInfo. They're downloaded straight from my Robinhood account. I don't do anything. It's all automatic, auto magic. Right here, when we click the 1 month, it says 298 because it actually starts rolling off. It's now been past 1 month as of today. You click on the 3 month and you can see the 3,000 bucks right there. 100% wins, average gain 100 bucks. You know, about 91% average gain. That's pretty good. Pretty good. And this is for people that wondered about how I trade an account. So I loaded this account up and started trading it and showing all the trades in real time as they happen for Termite Trading Lab. I'm going to be a little more vigilant about posting. I'm going to try to post daily the positions that I have open for channel members on YouTube here. So there you go. And this number, when it gets, you know, right now, it's at 29, whatever it was for the month, 29.80 right there. The goal is to get that to 50K plus every month for 6 months. So it's going to take a while, right? Like I got some work to do, but 100% win rates, that's going to stack very quickly. Might take a couple years to get there. So I'm having fun doing it so far. It's fun making money. They're kind of slow, boring trades. You know, put them on, wait a week, close it out. I've been very aggressive with it, but we're going to go through it today during the Termite Trading Lab monthly roundtable that we have. We're going to go through what I'm doing, what the plan is, at least so far. Nothing set in stone. I don't have, like, you know, it's not all written down. I'm still hashing out exactly how I'm going to build this account. So everything's fair game. But let's check that out. Finally breaking out. New highs. Has the potential to go on up here to 80. Right there. And let's see what else we got. Google, Spy, some triple threat alerts. Tomorrow, we'll be launching the, what do you call it? I think we're calling them supercharged alerts is the name of it. Trading leverage tickers. So if you want more information on that, I also have, let me see, where's the call to action thing? Here it is. I'll throw this link in here. You can register to come see me tomorrow at 1 p.m. I'm going to launch that thing I was talking about last week with the leverage tickers. If you're already a Termite Trading Lab member, you've already got access to it. You've had access to it. And we're going to be letting more people in on that. And, you know, funny enough, some of the trades I've been checking out here. FAZ. This one hadn't really moved. BITI. This one hadn't really moved. And UGL did move so far. Nothing too crazy. 140 is the target. Right there. But this is a way to get, you know, option-like gains, bigger percentage moves without having to trade options. So I'm not going to beat the dead horse and talk about it. I talked about it quite a bit last week. And something new coming out. So, all right. Let's check in on our old buddy stinky whizzle teats. I mean, S&P 500. And overnight, continuing the drift off the highs. Why am I checking in on S&P via futures? Because we got weekend trading action here. See the gap down, we filled the gap, and then continued down. So starting to indicate that the market is tilting itself toward a decline now. As long as we're holding under that 15 minutes, probably setting up for a bigger decline. 30 minutes is right where we're sitting. 1 hour has got a little ways to go to support down here around 580 or 5850, 5860. Right there. So that'll be a next downside test after we break through the 30 minutes. We get through the 1 hour. Probably going to cruise on down to the 4 hour. And we may find some support there at the 5860, 5850 area with that 1 hour. In the 4 hour, we've gotten really far away. So we may come down, find a support for a little bit, and then come on down here in the coming, maybe later in the week. Could go fast, could be later in the week. And if that doesn't hold, we're going to probably cruise on down further. The daily sitting right here in the middle of the danger zone at 57.25. And if we get through that, well, that's where we're taking the bigger downside move right there. And right now, that bigger downside move sets us up for a potential. I'm going to move this up just a hair. We could potentially stop at 5,400 on the S&P 500 futures, but it could also go as deep as this 5,100 down here. Right down in there. How does that relate to S&P 500 actual cash prices? Here you go. This is what we're talking about right now. Now, does it have to flush now? No. Could it go higher? Could. But here's kind of the path we've got outlined. 5,400, 5,300. That's where that 618 level is, 5,267. That would be the ideal place to come down in a three-way fashion, hold support if we're going to go mega bullish into the later part of the year. And 5,100, maybe even slightly below 5,100 down here. I've got an alert down here at 50.75 that if we get below that, we could be cruising down here sooner than later. All right, that's kind of my line in the sand right now, 50.75. If we get below that, it's kind of a danger zone right there. That the party might be over sooner than later. We'll go ahead and color that. And I don't like that one. Let's see. Kind of a danger zone red there. So if we get below that, it's opening the door to come on down below 4,000 sooner rather than later. All right. Any questions? Good old stinky whizzle teats. Anyway, that's basically what's up with the S&P. NASDAQ. Here's the levels. Starting out on the futures. We've pushed through the 15 minutes. Back tested it right there with the gap fill and pushing down lower. Not really even testing it. 30 minute, we're already below. This is looking a bit more bearish. And a bit more warning here. 1 hour, we're almost about to touch it here. So this is starting to look more bearish here on NASDAQ. Big tech, basically. And then as we come up to the 4 hour, we have support down here at this 20,080, 20,100 level. And then we got further decline potential. And so the 4 hour and the daily kind of sitting in the same spot there. And if we get the bigger retrace, that's going to put us down in here. Ideal spot would be to bounce at 18,004. And if we get below this, down here around 17.5, we open up that trap door to go lower in a big way for NASDAQ. That's what we got cooking. This correction could last us a little while here. Like this. It could be something like that out into the late summer even. The S&P one could be out into the late summer. Doesn't have to be fast. It could be a grind here. We could grind it down lower out for a few months. Come back up before we do that final move like that. That's entirely possible. That it takes a little while. I would kind of expect fast because we've been moving fast, but it could be a slow grind, and that would be rough. Anyway, so we got cooking on the indexes. Russell stopping at the daily roadmap line. Probably going to get some sort of 618 retrace here. Probably come down something like this, maybe come back up something like this before we start the bigger down. That would look the best on Russell. Oil still grinding, bounced off of that resistance, still grinding in here. I think I mentioned on Friday that I would want to, ideally, I'd want to see this do kind of a 618 retrace right back down here. That's why I had the alert sitting there. If we bounce off of that, break through the daily roadmap line, I think we can go on up pretty nicely. Nice and spicy. Gold, we seem to be on a faster path. I kind of thought we would grind into early June here, but looking like we might be on a faster path because we already did a move up and a retrace similar to this. I mean, that high right there was almost in the right high. That low right there, almost in the right spots. So this next move up, looking for this to come right back up here. Somewhere around 3,300, maybe 3,360. And for GLD, let's just remove all these drawings. You can see how gappy it is compared to the futures. That's why I watch the futures, not the GLD chart. Very gappy. A lot of price action happens on gold when the U.S. market's closed. So we're looking for this to come back up into this vicinity right here, around 307.75, before we go on a bigger trip down. That's all I got to say about that. Bitcoin got a few people excited last night, and then guess what? Looks like a final move right there. Uh-oh. Looking for this to come back down to at least 92. Right there. That's kind of what I'm expecting. And let's see, BTC USD. Go to the... I like Coinbase because it's nice and liquid. Let's see. Let's remove some drawings off here. Clean her up. Nice and clean. So this move up off the low was pretty spicy. Pretty swift. Not really any pullbacks whatsoever. Looks healthy if we just retrace right back down in this area right here. Right in that area. That's what I'm expecting. For me, right now. That's what I expect. Yep. That's Bitcoin for you. Ethereum, probably going to do a similar type retrace move. Back down. Right down in here. that 618 zone right around 1800. If we do that, we could set up a very bullish potential to go on up to like 5,000. That would be super healthy. You know, if Bitcoin does this move, it helps Bitcoin set up a potential very bullish move for very high prices. So I really kind of want to see this correction play out, get us right back down in here, because that sets up the next bigger move to be really super nice. That next move potentially puts us right up in the 140,000 area right here. Pull back, maybe back to 120, 25, and then we can get the final move up to that 150, 170, right up in there. 160, 170. Looks pretty good. Depends on where we bottom out. Right there. So I want to see this. If we just grind higher now, we may stall out in the 120s. If we just go for it now, we may stop right in here and then start crypto winter. Not good. So I'm hoping I kind of hope we get the pullback, because then it supports. As I briefed, as I warned, if we get below here, the U.S. market's going on a bigger correction, and we're going to take this back down, probably in this 33, 34,000 area on NKD, indicator of global liquidity. Dollar kind of sticking with the channel, but pushing the bottom limits after pushing out the top limits. This may continue higher, but it could go revisit. If we break out, get a couple closes down here, we could go revisit this level down here. Nothing's clear there yet. Apple, getting a retrace. Mag 7 stuff. The way this kind of triple topped out, I think we might have potential to go make a lower low than this low right here. Don't like that price action right there. The fact we didn't even hit this resistance with the daily roadmap line and the 618 sets us up to potentially extend lower. We can see prices down in the 120, 140. Amazon came up to that resistance. For whatever reason, I removed the lines off this chart. Here's the high, here's the low. We came up right to the 618. Another cautionary tail here. That could set it up for a bigger flush right down in here. That was just 1, 2, 3, right into the 618. Continuation would be lower right there. I've been looking for that correction down in that area for a long time. In fact, I had that zone drawn on here somewhere back in here as we were turning the bottom and we were lagging NASDAQ. And QQQ made all-time highs, and this thing was still screwing around down here, not making all-time highs. And then we started catching up, and I was like, once we get up here, we need to retrace back down in this area to really support going higher. Now, we got close on that move, but I don't think we're done. I think we could go a little lower, probably around 140. If we go 140, that sets up this mega potential move to go big time higher. 300, maybe even 700. But if we don't do that, we probably are going to stall out maybe in the 200 to 300 area on the next move higher. Google kind of already has a finished correction in place. This was sloppy, but potentially already finished and working on a bullish breakout. So while the rest of NASDAQ, big tech, Mag 7 stuff corrects, this thing could actually grind higher and then really take off after we get through the next correction. That's really kind of what I want to see on Google. So kind of bullish on Google, you might say. Then Trading it in the 50K challenge account. Meta, not sure here. This stopping right here, very similar to Amazon, that we could turn down and make another leg lower. That support zone being down here in the 350 to 400 area, which is like almost taking a 50% haircut off of here. Long term, I believe they can be bullish, but the chart is telling me that you should be very careful. If you're long, you might want to punch out. If we dip below the daily roadmap line, start accelerating to the downside here. The line in the sand would be, we get below 510, we're set up odds that we're going on down right there. Microsoft is bullish and cruising on up to the target, 486. Defying all the other tickers here. Nvidia stalling out a little bit. We've got this, when I've been drawing the danger zone a little fatter here lately, between the 50 and 786 levels, 50% at 78.6 levels. We got up to the upper end of it, just like we did on the S&P 500 here. We went just a little higher on the S&P. That's still a zone where we can reverse from. It's kind of like we stepped our toes across, and now we might reverse hard here. So Nvidia, we didn't step across, but we could reverse at least to a 618 retrace. This whole move up, which put us back in this area right here. Right in here for potential corrective move. And that would support blasting off to new all-time highs on Nvidia. Tesla grinding that danger zone. I like it. Now this one could come back to the daily roadmap line pretty quickly. Could even do a 618 retrace, which that's not it. Let's try. Thought we might rally on up to 380 there. So we could come on down just below the daily roadmap line, back to that 618 retrace, somewhere around that 275 area, 280, before we bounce again. That would be healthy and constructive and probably set us up for new highs. We do have a catalyst coming up in June. We don't know how it's going to work. They're jumping into robotaxi, cybercab, whatever you're going to call it. You know, they've got them on the streets of Austin already, driving around without people in them. So we'll see what happens. UNH potentially bottoming out here. Could go for one more extension. Like, it would look best with one little more push down into the 220 area. But that over enthusiasm right there could be done. That's the kind of candle I like to look at when we're done. Dunzo SOC targets right there. Holy moly, that thing just went ripping right there. Had that high, had that low, gave you a chance to get in, and then boom, right up to the target, 34. PTIX looks like complete garbage. Dumpster fire. TXNM. Up to the extension. UGO, we already talked about. All this leverage stuff on here. Nice. Grind into the roadmap line. Hum. These are all stocks that were up $2 or more in the pre-market. Put them on a list. Going through, look for opportunities. Humana here. That's starting to look like this might be the bottom right in here. Starting to look like we're building the bottom. It's not a reversal yet. That was a lower low. So we've got to move up. Look at that lower low. Now we need to move up on a higher low and then break above this downtrend of highs to indicate that we're going to go higher. I have played Humana and I have played UNH in the 50K challenge. RYAAY, Rainier. That one could be done and cruising on up right there. So we had a split. Yep. Had a split that moved all my levels. Cool. Love that stuff. All right. Here's what we got. We're cooking with here. Getting above and setting up the 64 upside. Skip all these leverage things. Skip. AEM. So when I look at this chart right here, probably need to hit the roadmap line. GDX probably needs to hit the roadmap line. When you look at gold miners in general, although this is kind of a getting near a proportional correction here, we could see this rally back up before it takes a bigger decline, similar to GLD. Let's check out our old buddy VIX. Getting a little baby pop. Not really moving a whole lot here today so far. We need a bigger decline in the market. A little more fear to jump this up. Let's see. Let's bring up the fear and greed index. Learned my lesson about CNN showing off my personal information. Maybe it's Google that does it. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, we're just at regular greed right now. Oh, no, it's Google. So we got fear and greed right there. We're kind of hovering. We didn't hit extreme greed. So we may need just a little touch more on the upside before we can crank that up to extreme and get the bigger pullback. Anything's possible. All right, decliners like Spotify, turning that ship around. Very bullish upside, 678. Now, just grinding the danger zone. App loving, grinding the bottom of the danger zone. Watch for a pullback. Netflix, topping it out here. We might hit that 1200 before we roll. It's done the very bullish pattern. We've got the correction to the roadmap line. Go shooting up. Kind of stalled for 3 days there. Popped on up. Pulling back a little bit. Now we're going for that 1618 extension. And with a big bullish move like that, we might see this come back pretty hard to the roadmap line. It's always possible we go on up to further fib lines. 1368, 1450 up there. GE Veranova turning the ship around from being down in the pre-market to setting up that bullish 476 move. MSTR. I don't like the way that stopped right there. Oh, man. This can come back to the roadmap line very quickly before we pop on through. That would be healthy, but it's also very dangerous because that's a big move. That's going from 400 back to possibly 295, 300, 310, somewhere in that zone. It's possible. Put the fib on it. And we might stop a little higher. Similar to the way Bitcoin and Ethereum need that pullback. This one kind of needs that pullback. So we can go much higher. This would give me more confidence that we're going to hit that higher target up near 1,000. That low, that high, this low. That sets up the next move to be up to here. Then we might pull back and go even higher. Goldman Sachs hanging in the danger zone. This is looking, yeah. We'll push it up to the extreme. I'm expecting this to pull back. That's why I bought the FAZ. Both this one and this one pushing the extreme levels here and needing a bigger pullback. So FAZ, I'm only looking for a little pullback, and XLF, very similar. This one needs a pullback back into this roadmap line area right there. Reddit, glancing off roadmap line, setting up for a downside target around 80, and if we step across that line, we could go lower low than we had all the way back near the IPO here. Could be something down in the 40, 30, 35 to 40 area. AVGO, that's ripe for a pullback here. Probably coming back to the roadmap line at least, if not something a little deeper. Coin. Resistance at that 618. Did the pullback, moving up. Resistance right there. Would not surprise me one bit to retrace at least to a 618 before we set up the bigger upside. Upside targets right now, 379, 404, possibly even up here to 600. New highs, new all-time highs. That'd be pretty spicy. 42, 532, 42, 532, and 668. If things really got spicy, we can see 800, but keep it in check here. We're still lower highs at this point. Until we get above that all-time high, we're still lower highs. And this high was still higher than this high, so lower high, lower high, lower high so far. Keep your expectations in check until we actually start making higher highs. And let's see, CRWD, there were like 150 decliners, so I'm probably not going to hit all these. And CRWD grinding under the prior high. A pullback would be healthy. IBKR grinding in that danger zone. TLTR. Did we hit the target? Not yet. Still expecting that 134. We came up really dang close. Maybe even winding up for, since we came up so close and then retraced back to the breakout here, might be setting up for a pop. 141. Of course, this could be it. Like, that could have been it, and we go on a bigger, deeper retrace back down to the daily roadmap line, all the way down here. And that was close to the target. So if you got long down here, or even down here, be very careful here. If we start down, this can come all the way back down here to 80 again. SMH. Thinking if everything is going to correct a little bit, this will probably pull back and give another opportunity for upside. ARM, just kind of grind in the roadmap line zone here. That could possibly be finished. Like 1, 2, 3, right down into that zone where we gapped up from. Possibly could be done, but I really need to see that 618 retrace here of this move up off this low right here. Need to see that low, that high. See, it's right there. 618 levels right there, right at 100. Really kind of want to see that if we're going to get, and that hold to project us up even higher. Would set us up for bigger upside potential right there. TSM potentially done. Back up in the danger zone. Needs a retrace. So much stuff needs a retrace. That's Boeing. Look at that rip. That needs a retrace. And Charlie, I saw you nailed a win on Boeing. Good job. If you're around. DPST in the danger zone. It's a 3x leverage on regional banks there. MDB still hasn't indicated we're done on the downside yet. Moving on down, moving on down. Shake Shack. Man, look at that reversal. Beautiful. Look, that worked. Look at that. Holy smokes. Holy smokes. That worked out. Right up to the target. Watch for retrace there, but that could break on out. 150 on the upside. Roblox. That's at the target. Time to be careful. That can retrace back down to the 60 area pretty darn quickly. Hymns. I jumped off of that one because I didn't like the way this started chopping with the potential to run back down to the roadmap line. That was an outsized move here. I mean, it's like a 43% retrace, so it'd be like 80% off of hymns with a Z potential. And the 80% downside here, that would be pretty devastating. So I went ahead and jumped off since I was up pretty good. I mean, 80% could be like back down to the lows. I was like, that's a big risk since we stalled out on the move right there. Still upside potential, but right now the upside potential, it's like the potential for further gain was very muted. We're only expecting 27% upside, so 40% on HIMZ. 40% more upside puts us somewhere right there, around 69. Whereas 80% downside puts us down at 10. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and jump off of that one for right now. Book the profit, move on. That's leverage for you. Be careful on leverage. As I've said, don't trade options on leverage. Can wreck you. FedEx, downtrend, XLY. At that 618 zone, might get a bigger retrace. Be very, very careful here. Snow. Oh, come on, break out. I like it. I am long this stock. Looking for this pop potential up here to 300 area. So I bought a share back here. I bought a bunch of, or I bought a big expensive call right here. Didn't really lose. It wasn't really down much. But now it's up and we're looking for this breakout. Got to break out of this long-term downtrend. That downtrend is not on the right. We've got to put it on log scale. There we go. You see those highs coming down through there. We're right at that downtrend of highs right there. I want to see it break through. Shopify. I'm bullish on this one too. I had thought about buying here, but I just couldn't do it with the earnings. 141 right there. If we get a 618 retrace now off of this move, I'll probably buy a chunk right there. Look for that next move. I want to see this retrace back down in this area is what I want to see. Right there. Hood pushing on up, upside target 75. Datadog still trying to get through the roadmap line. Has nice upside potential if we can get above that 618. Could be looking at 189, possibly even up to 230. TTD. Struggling to get through the roadmap line. Nice, healthy reversal. Capital One. Gonna close their deal with Discover Card. DFS being taken out of the S&P. Look at that. I guess they closed. They closed the deal. So Discover Card no longer a public company. Capital One now owns Discover Card. Close the deal. Yeah. There it is. Reshapes the U.S. credit card industry. It took them 15 months to work that deal. And that's why Coinbase replaced Discover Card in the S&P 500. Airbnb. Did you see what the CEO of this company said? He said he wants to build the everything app. Like, he doesn't think that home rentals is where it's at anymore. And he wants to build the everything app that you can book anything. That's kind of weird. Spain orders a bunch of listing removals. Yeah. Airbnb experiences. This is what they were talking about. Could broaden beyond travelers. You can book surf lessons and private chefs and housekeeping and laundry and I don't know. Is an everything app what Airbnb needs, or is this like you should just focus on what you're doing? And I don't know if that's bullish or bearish. The chart looks ambiguous, not really indicating up or down. All right, I brought some setups today. Let's check them out. These were my signature roadmap pattern setup for entries today. Let's check out some of the statistics here, see what we got cooking. This one has never had a trade workout before. We've got this high, we've got this low. And it picked up the smaller move right here. What it picked up right there, 576 upside target. That's low price stuff. Be careful. APLD. There's the high. There's the low. Oh, it grabbed this lower one. Closed above. Set up. For the upside move. 9, 10. I would wait for the bigger close. Oh, come on. I would wait for that bigger 618 zone to get cleared. Clearing this prior high right here. Before I would want to get involved. And look at the statistics of this ticker. Not the best. Not the best. CACC. Very choppy, but it tends to hit the target. That one failed, of course. It's been very choppy, so I would be cautious. Here's a high, here's a low. 560 on the upside. GSHD. Let's see what we got cooking here. Got that high, we got this low. Close above. 134.96. Potential upside right there. HDV. Got this high, we got this low. There's the entry. 124.92. Potential target. Cool. Let's see, Main Street Capital. We have the bigger potential setup in here. I would really want to see that move above. Moving the whole fib. Love it. It picked up the online, or the Discord version picked up this potential right here. Looking for that upside to 61.50, but I would probably wait for the close above the bigger 618 at 56.70 and ride that on up to potential 66 right there. None of these have a statistical population, so we have to fall back on the historical average, which is 75% and 1.28 on the profit vector. When this number right here is under 30, if it's less than 30, then we got to fall back on these statistics right here. And those come from 56,000 trades across 4,000 tickers. So it's not just like I made it up. Not just smoking this stuff here. Get that high, we get that low. 394 potential, Redfin. Got this high, we got that low, got that potential 1235 on the upside. Not bad. SMLR. These guys are doing what MicroStrategy is doing. And look at the Bitcoin Treasuries website here. Reload it, get the current version. Let's see, SMLR. And I don't even see them on the list here. There it is, right there. Rolling right over it. They're starting to do what MicroStrategy is doing, but they've got a long way to accumulate very much. They've only got about roughly 400 million in Bitcoin so far. So what you do is you write bonds, then you go buy Bitcoin with that money. The Bitcoin adds to your bottom line of your company because now new accounting rules allow you to count that on your balance sheet. Your company's worth more money. You can write more bonds. Rinse and repeat. It's like the infinite money hack, essentially, as long as Bitcoin keeps going up over the long run. Now, we know there's going to be another crypto winter. It's going to pull back. MicroStrategy's been through one already, but the next one could be pretty vicious. So we'll see how this works out. Mora started doing the same process. Mora Holdings, Smelser. There's a few more on here. CEP is also doing it. That's XXI. This company right here, CEP. So that'd be interesting. That chart doesn't look particularly bullish. Maybe a 1-2, 1-2. I don't know. Difficult. But looking at the pattern, I would be waiting for a move up through the 58 and then getting off at 96 to 110 area. Wizzo Watsco. And this one, again, my tool finds very aggressive setups where we're just looking for this and the close above right there. I think that's a little too aggressive on this one. I would wait for the close above this consolidation back here. Then this whole correction has taken way too long, and this algorithm right here will not take this trade because it took too long. So maybe not the best setup here. And you look at this, the statistics here, that is statistically significant. That is kind of in line. This one says it loses money on the average. That means for every dollar you lose, you only make back 96 cents. So that's losing 4 cents per trade on average for every dollar you risk. Not the best long-term plan for making money. And Zoom info keeps showing up all over the place. This was on the... This one must have gone out, like, they must have delisted this. Right? Yeah. This one keeps showing up. So this got delisted or something, or changed tickers or something. It wasn't showing up on Friday. It was on the list. And I'm going to remove that out of there. So I don't know what happened to it, but it's no longer a ticker. All right. Cool. That's the list, everybody. Expectation for today. Remember, if I said anything's helpful, beneficial, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, share. all that good stuff, you know. Make sure you're subscribed. Come back for more. Well, kind of expect a bigger correction here. We're filling the gap. Could go tap that 59.77. That was always in the cards. We never hit that on Friday. That might push this one up past 80. And then watch out. All right. It's just, you know, it's like I said, the debt thing doesn't even matter. Doesn't even matter. No financial news matters. Doesn't matter at all. You could say the tariffs caused this big correction, but if you say the tariffs caused it, why did NASDAQ top out in December? Like the highest high on NASDAQ was in December. So what was all this first correction stuff? Was it tariffs that started us pulling back from December? No. That wasn't tariff fears. So be careful what narrative you believe in the market right now. Price action is the only thing I found that's reliable. Be careful out there. The account you save may be your own. Nobody's watching out for your money more than you. Got to take a vested interest in learning this stuff. Have a great day, everybody. See you later. If you're Term Art Trading Lab, we have the roundtable at 1 p.m. Eastern on Zoom. Link's already in the Getting Started channel for Term Art Trading Lab. See y'all later. Have a great day. Bye for now.